Glory to Jesus Christ. Today is Wednesday, April 13th, and we're another day closer to celebrating the raising of Lazarus. And today, on Wednesday, in the Lenten Triodion, we hear that Lazarus dies. And two texts from the Triodion in this day that I'll read, and then we'll connect those with our Psalms as well. Today, Lazarus has died, and Bethany laments for him. But you, our Savior, shall awake him from the dead. Through the raising of your friend, you have given us in advance an assurance of your own dread resurrection, of hell's death, and Adam's restoration to life. And we therefore sing your praises. It's interesting, just in that short text, we see how the church sees the raising of Lazarus as an event. It's not only about just the raising of Lazarus, but it gives us an assurance of Christ's resurrection and of Adam's restoration to life as well, which is for all of us. And that's why that on the raising of Lazarus, we're celebrating the universal resurrection. Another text we hear today, the death of Lazarus this day did not escape the all-seeing eye of Jesus, but he spoke of it to his disciples, saying, My friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go to raise him. So Jesus knew, and he told his disciples, it's best that I was not there while he was sick, although in an earthly sense, his sisters would have lamented that. But Christ sees that Lazarus is dead, and he knows that he goes to wake him up. So on this day, again, we can connect this with the Psalms as well. The prokimenon, the first prokimenon that we'll hear at presanctified liturgy this evening is, I will walk before the Lord in the land of the living. And then the verse for that prokimenon is, I love the Lord because he has heard my voice and my supplication. And this comes from Psalm 114, although the translation's a little different from the Septuagint, but you'll see the connection there. So let us read Psalm 114. The verse that I just read for the prokimenon is the first verse of the psalm, and then it's in verse 9 that we hear the prokimenon itself. So Psalm 114. I have loved because the Lord shall hear the voice of my supplication. For he inclined his ear to me, and in my days I shall call upon him. The pains of death surrounded me, the dangers of Hades found me. I found affliction and grief. Then I called upon the Lord's name. O Lord, save my soul. The Lord is merciful and righteous, and our God has mercy. The Lord is he who watches over children. I was humbled, and he saved me. Return, O my soul, to your rest, because the Lord showed you kindness. For he delivered my soul from death, my eyes from tears, and my feet from slipping. I shall be well-pleasing before the Lord in the land of the living. And again, that's the prokimenon that we hear this evening at the presanctified liturgy. This psalm speaks of the person who loves the Lord because the Lord loves him by hearing his prayers. The love of God matures in this believer through answers to prayer, deliverance from the fear of death and the dangers of Hades, humility and rest in the Lord, and looking for the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. This psalm is used on Palm Sunday with reference to the resurrection of Lazarus the day before. His resurrection forecasts the resurrection of us all. And so I think that as we read this psalm, maybe a good exercise to do, it's a very short one, just take the moment to read it by yourself in the context of thinking of Lazarus. And I think that this psalm will take on a whole different context if we think about particularly Lazarus in the tomb and Christ coming to him. And so again, on this day, we think of Lazarus dying, being buried, and then it's just a short time until Christ will be there at his tomb to call him back from sleep. Glory to Jesus Christ.